One of the most beautiful parts of South Africa is down in this wonderful little town of Paarl. Have a look at the top of your picture there. The granite outcrop is where this town gets its name. The Pearl, as it was called and translated into Afrikaans as Die Paarl. Well, it's Paarl Boys High up against Paul Roos Gimnasium. It's a mutual and federal Premier Interschools match, and one could not have asked for more between the two top-ranked rugby schools in South Africa at the moment. Paarl Boys High number 1, Paul Roos number 2. The boys are in place, the blue of Paarl Boys High, the maroon of Paul Roos, and of course all the old boys, the local inhabitants and many people who've travelled through to come and watch what hopefully will be a great encounter. Have a look at those rankings then, the unofficial record there showing that Paarl Boys High up top there, Paul Roos number 2, Paul Gym, who are playing against Oakdale in the same town a little bit later on. Have a look how close they are. So are we going to see somebody else who takes on that number 1 position today, or will Paarl Boys High manage to hold on to it? Well, have a look at Paul Roos's record. Just 1 loss this season against Paarl Gymnasium, their dreaded foe, but some very solid victories outside of it, as you can see from the scores against Stellenbosch and others. Well, the local team couldn't have asked for more. It's been a great start to the season for them. They're unbeaten, and that's why they're in the number 1 position. Also, with some very solid victories. Just the 1 close game against Bishops, but they're coming off a wonderful victory against Brug Boys High School. So since 2000 then, that's how close it's been then. 8 victories for Paarl Boys High and 6 for Paul Roos Gymnasium. And I can tell you that those victories have been close, whichever way it's gone. Form tends to have favoured the home team on many occasions, and we'll debate that a little bit more later on. In the meanwhile, it's all the festivities beforehand. So the Paul Roos team, and they'll be happy with the fact that they've got 3 players in the Western Province Craven Week team and 2 in the academy side, US Swart, the captain, being one of them. Watch out for Nico Leonard on the right wing. He has a lot of experience and has scored 20 tries already this season. Paarl Boys High, well, they've got 2, 4, 7 players then in the Western Province Craven Week team, and that's just reward for some excellent rugby that they've played this year, captained by Andreas van Wyk. And there's a lot of trepidation amongst the old boys. I can tell you, we bumped into a few of them, and and on both sides, and well, it's not an easy game to call this. It could be one of those very, very close games again that we've seen in recent years. Alongside me today, former Stellenbosch Boys High School fly half and of course Western Province fly half, Gareth Wright. And Gareth, maybe the question is around last year's match when Paarl Boys High lost to Paul Roos by those 13 points to 17.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. And Paul Roos snatched victory out the jaws of defeat last year, but who knows what's going to happen. It's 1 versus 2 in the country. It doesn't get bigger than this. Outstanding conditions for running rugby. The field is a little bit heavy, which might suit the home side, considering in their pack they have formidable size in Lucid, Vickers Groenewald, and the 2 Craven Week locks in Salman Marat and Ruben de Villiers. I think it could go the way of the home side. A dangerous pack, but don't write off Paul Roos, and you do so at your peril with the likes of Leonard and of course the Craven Week Western Province fly-off in Damien Willemse, who has lit up the school season in 2015.
Maybe just while we wait for the teams too, just a point on that, and maybe a counter. You know, yes, it's favoured the home team. Paarl Boys are number 1, so the expectations might be that they're going as favourites. However, we do know that there's a very enterprising backline from Paul Roos against a very big pack of forwards, as you've mentioned. So what would it take for an upset to happen today?
As you mentioned, 2 contrasting styles. I think Paul Roos will have to move this heavier Paarl Boys back around, use the width of the field, try to tire them out where I think Paarl Boys will like to keep it close, take it through the middle, hold the poses, try to wear their opposition down through attritional play.
So US Swart there in picture now, the captain of Paul Roos, just having his last word with a high authority, and just waiting now for the big cheer that'll come as Andreas van Wyk leads out the Paarl Boys High team. And remember, for many of these boys, this could be the last season that they play, the matriculants that will play for their team, and it's such a big honour. But just have a look at those boys coming through. This is not a small pack of forwards, that's for certain. 2 players touching 2 meters in the lock position, and of course Vickers Groenewald up front too. Such a big power man in the loose head position. So a couple of words as well, and maybe a last minute prayer there from the Paarl Boys High team before we get into the mix.
Well, Gavin, just look at the size of some of those boys. Salman Murat, Ruben de Villiers, as you mentioned, nearly 2 meters tall, and you can be guaranteed they'll provide the home side with a surfeit of possession come line-out time.
So, Boys High then, there's no wind to speak of here in Paarl. In fact, it's a glorious day. We couldn't have asked for a better day in the middle of winter. As we wait then for Stefan de Toy, who's our referee for today's match, and it'll be Rayon Lombard who will start this game for Paarl Boys High, who will have the kickoff. It's been a glorious season for them, unbeaten. Coming off the back of a great victory over Wynberg Boys High School. So we're underway, and it's a change of direction from Lombard with his kick. Didn't catch Paul Roos unawares. You heard from Gareth Wright about how important it would be for Paul Roos to try and move this Paarl Boys High pack around the field. And one of the important things, I suppose, would also for them to make sure that they keep the accuracy rate up as high as possible. This is Damien Willemse. He will be playing Craven Week rugby in a couple of weeks' time for Western Province. Thumping tackle initially there. Of course, these guys are very G'd up. Worst too, they've got to do their bit up front to be asked of them. They've got a lot of skill in their pack of forwards. Bravo Sali, who plays at loosehead, has got fantastic skills. Just watching him playing too, often runs like a backline player, but it's also the power that they need to combat the Boys High pack. Downfield from Christoph Bart. This is a confident team too, this home team, with the oodles of ability too, as Manuel Russ tries to find his way through. Another Craven Week player. Craven Week to be, I should say. The middle of July, when Craven Week will be hosted, in fact, by Paul Roos Gimnasium in Stellenbosch. From Bradley Thane, diminutive scrum half for Paarl Boys High. They're getting a fair bit of possession now, are Paarl Boys High. This is where they like to use their big pack of forwards to carry the ball up.
Coming around the corner was Big Leo Kriya. Just found himself isolated. Too many watches and not enough cleaners for the home side, and good work on his feet by Josh van Eden. So now Joshua from Yellen to carve off some territory for Mini Maroon.
He's hoofed that right out of the stadium, but solidly out there from Joshua from Yellen. I think one of the questions for him too, Gareth, is we just have a look at this again.
Good leg tackle coming in from Van Tonda, and then over the ball in a flash was Van Eden. He had all the rights on his feet, winning the penalty for the men from Stellenbosch.
I guess at school level you don't always want to talk about kicking, but Joshua van Meulen has been a little bit up and down this season with his goal kicking. He spoke about the power of a pack versus the adventure of a backline, but kicking can be vital too in a match like this. Out from Willemse, taken up by Big Troy Payne. Could be playing in the lock position at 108 kilograms and 1.95. Good solid work there from Joshua van Meulen. This is better play from Paul Roos, but that ball might have been taken away from them. Bradley Thane in attendance at scrum half. Downfield it goes. It's not a bad kick. Again, Paul Roos now carrying up there is David Costello. Protecting your ball is crucial. We've seen one turnover already. We're going to see another one here, I think. Out from Thane. So Paul Roos not looking after their possession. Kick downfield from Eugene Johannes. Eventually, it's Joshua Vermeulen that gets the ball out. Well, the nice thing as well for Paul Roos is they've got Joshua Vermeulen's left boot along with Damian Willems's predominant right boot at fly half.
And that's good artillery to have in your back pocket for the men in maroon. Surely using that left foot to plug some open spaces, but some pretty aimless kicking by both sides early on. There again, you saw the power of the Paarl Boys pack counter-rucking at every opportunity.
Maybe a little bit of tension as well on that occasion for NC de Jong as well, with that ball not in straight.
There must be a few nerves. More battle to hit locks that are 2 meters tall.
Especially at the back of the line out too. There is a debate about starting your throw-ins up front where you've got your banker ball, as we call it, your number 4 lock, or whoever else is up front. Meanwhile, it'll be an opportunity for Josh van Heerden with a put in here.
Gavin, this is where this left boot of Joshua Vermeulen can be so effective. Just a pass from Willemse, opening up this area of space in front of our commentary position. Try to plug it down here.
Well, this time they decide to just move it down to him and then the kick downfield. Are the team really interested in kicking it out at this point in time? Big up and under there from Jean-Luc Cilliers. Just let him knock on. Well, that's gone forward, surely. So, Paarl Boys High once again putting the pressure on the visitors.
Damian Willemse just tucking his off the ball at the crucial moment and then throwing the sunny ball out the back of the hand going forward. It's handed Paarl Boys a favourable position just outside the 22 to attack from. Really blindside to work from Wolfane. He works well in unison with his number 8 Kanya and Kusana. One of those Craven Week representatives.
He's had a very good season as the number 8, but that's a poor pass from him. Bradley Thane in all sorts of trouble there. Jason Maber quickly onto him. Eventually it's Lombard that takes the scrum half position. There's the benefit of good power. Let's run over that ball. Somehow Paarl Boys High. Well, they're looking after the possession of Paarl Boys High. It's maybe something that Coach Sean Erasmus has really spent some time with, making sure that they look after their possession. Lombard. Kusana. Really making enough headway. A bit of room here for Bradley Thane to move in. A counter-rucking opportunity there for Paul Roos that they didn't quite grab with both hands. And big Ruben de Villiers, I think, has knocked it on.
Credit to Paul Roos, some stoic defence by the men in maroon. The tackler's the only man who's getting up and competing for a ball. Otherwise, they are fanning on defence. Pass behind Ruben de Villiers. Too much to ask from the lock. And spilling it forward.
Well, there's been a fair bit of patience shown by Paul Roos, even although they've been mostly in this first half in their own half of the field. Just for Heerden. Gareth Wright spoke about the options, the kicking options that they've got with the left and right boot. Chance for Willemse. This again going down the middle of the field. So a little bit of time here for Jean-Luc Cilliers. That'll be closed down by Nico Leonard quite quickly. Just wondering if Paul Roos are saying to themselves, maybe trying to get better territory than we've had up to now. Let's put pressure on them at the back.
There's a clear tactic from Willemse, just trying to thread the needle and get the ball into some space. Put a line up just inside Paarl Boys half, and they'll be looking to try and use the wider options.
Well, first throwing for Robert Mattia at a line out. Van Heerden holding on to it. Short path is the one sought on this occasion. And some valuable ground made there. Then a charge up from Sean, Laszlo Sean, who's locking today with US Swamp for Paul Roos. In fact, no, it wasn't a knock-on, says the referee. Counter-attacking opportunities have seen some glorious tries this season scored by Paarl Boys High, awarded the penalty, the ball being held on the deck.
Troy Payne, the guilty party, not releasing the tackle player. That gives Rayon Lombard an opportunity to forge some territory and get into that Paul Roos half.
Just wonderful tradition of these two teams having played over the years. A very classic Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools match, Gareth. And one thinks back as well to a couple of other situations as we have a look at Troy Payne here, one penalised.
Just not releasing the tackle player.
Numbers 4-5. 4-5.
Just talking about the history, you know, today Stephen Kitsoff and Frans Malherbe play for the Stormers, and of course they played against each other in an encounter between these two schools over the years. And there's very often been in senior teams, in fact in Springbok teams too, where representatives of these two schools have played together.
7.
And of course these two schools have provided 75% of the Western Province Premier League representatives over the years. It's a fantastic achievement. So the quality of rugby we would expect from them is of the highest order. Paarl Boys High, here's their opportunity. Will they take it? If they've been watching television in recent weeks, Gareth, they might say, well, let's take the 3 points while they're on offer.
He's right, slap bang in front of the poles. You'd expect Jean-Luc Cellier to stick it over and put Paarl Boys ahead in this Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools clash.
144 points this season for the fullback, including 4 tries too, so a man who loves attacking. They couldn't have asked maybe for a better first upper. Slap in front.
His only concern might be his placement of his left foot, his plant foot. A little bit wet underfoot from the incessant rain that we had down in the Cape on Monday and Tuesday. This should be a mere formality for Celliers.
Well, so it is. A mere formality. Jean-Luc Celliers then gets the first points of the match. And one has to say, deservedly so for Paarl Boys High, who've been on the attack and won this opportunity.
Trucking it up in midfield were some of those heavy forwards. The tackler not rolling away. And from that ensuing penalty, it's put the home side 3 points to the good.
Damien Willemse, a pretty deep kick in and a very good one. And on that occasion it was Kusano who couldn't hold on to it. But managed to hold on to the ball, have Paarl Boys High. I think that's one of the reasons for their success this season, Gareth, is that they've done the basics so well and they've got enough patience, calm under pressure. Would you say that maybe is a hallmark of Paarl Boys High School rugby this season?
Absolutely, they managed to refine.
Please go out again. Let's just form the line. Thank you.
Small areas of the game, and they've really got the best out of their breakdown work. That's provided them with the opportunity to attack.
So Robert Mathieu finds his man. Good attacking opportunity this for Paul Roos. Willemse into the half gap, did pretty well with Damien Willemse. Paul was looking to try and keep as many Paarl Boys High players honest there at the breakdown point and attached to that ruck. And that's just opened up a little bit of space now. So can they make something of this? There's a change of direction, but it was Sali who couldn't hold on to it.
Sorry. Stean May, sorry.
He was talking about his skill levels a little bit earlier. Oh, they've got the put in, have Paul Roos.
The referee just getting in the way. The Gregan pass coming in, and so Well, he was in a gap, and unfortunately for him, Josh van Eden just found step in the toe as opposed to Muamia Salih.
Sorry.
Apologies to Muamia Salih.
That's still a great attacking opportunity now for Damian Willemse. Look for Big Troy Payne to come into the action. Oh, there's a block runner, or somebody who's going to truck it up in midfield.
Well, he's the big power man, and there he is. Brought in the picture. Good solid tackle on him.
Number 8, daylight. Number 8, daylight. Right hand of number 8, daylight. Paarl.
Immediate decision this from Paul Roos to also kick a
Kijk,
goal.
ik ga naar jou support als je goed aangaat.
Just have a look at this breakdown.
Kanyan Kasana not releasing the tackle player. It's a penalty.
And not supporting his body weight either.
Kanyan Kasana was a young man who plied his trade in the centre position. So recently moved to the number 8 with devastating effect. However, he's transgressed there, and he's given Christoph Bart an opportunity to level matters down at Brug Street in Paarl.
143 points this season from Christoph Bart, including 6 tries. Done really, really well.
Not only are they neck and neck in terms of the ranking, the goal kickers are right up there. And he's slapped it over. And it's 3 apiece down here for the number 1 ranked position in the country this afternoon.
Now, there'll always be eager eyes on that log. You say, well, we're above you. You number 5, we number 1. Just a wonderful thing that the players can search to end up somewhere on top if at all possible during the course of the season. We rank the number 1 team. At the end of the season is the big prize. So downfield from Joshua Vermeulen. Kusana just might have lost that in the sun. Yes, John looks at this. Now he can kick this out because it wasn't carried back. That's not out. Willemse. Pretty deep kick that from Willemse, and Johannes was all over the place initially. Didn't get the bounce that he would have wanted. But they've recovered well, have Paarl Boys High. And right in front of the interested spectators, including all the boys from Paarl Boys High and those from Paul Roos. There's Nico Leonard in picture. 20 tries this season. Wonderful effort. Not even halfway through.
Well, supremely fit athlete Nico Leonard is. Represented South Africa under 18 at 7s level. And that scintillating form has carried on into the 15s game.
That was a good throw in and a good catch there from Joris Swart, captain of the Paul Roos team. This is better play from them. Into a little bit of space. Here goes Willemse. Well, they got points the last time they were down in the 22 to Paul Roos, and of course that's vital in what, who knows, might be a low-scoring match.
That's criminal from Jason Marburg. They've done so well at line-out time through their captain, Joris Swart. They've come around the corner, they've made meters, and Marburg getting bundled into touch. It's the coach's worst nightmare.
And you can just see how well organised the Paarl Boys High pack of forwards are. This time deciding that they want to truck it up. Good solid catch. Throwing the line out. And just worming their way upfield. Just providing potentially a really good platform for the back line if they are going to be used. So Lombard with a long pass, and Cilier's brought into the picture again. In possession is Damian Willemse. Leonard, a little chip kick through. Extremely well read there by Bradley Thane, the scrum half, but he's been bundled into touch.
You saw the strength of the Paarl Boys pack in that driving maul, all of 20 meters upfield. And they just looked a little bit bereft of ideas out wide, did Paarl Boys. This is the tight encounter that we expected. Nothing in it after 20 or so minutes.
Of course, Paul Roos, also the winner of the gold medal at the Sanix World Youth Tournament in Japan. So they've had an excellent season. Paarl Boys High, who unbeaten. So you couldn't ask for a more mouth-watering encounter.
And it's one apiece for the hookers. Robert Mattia not finding his jumper, and good work at line-out time from those two locks in unison, contesting the Paul Roos line-out.
Great tradition with these two schools. 51 Springboks have come from Paul Roos over the years, including most recent one, Billy LaRue at fullback, and also a guy called Cabos van der Westhuizen. Remember him? He lives in Granby, Mauritius these days. John Luxiliers, that's a high tackle. And I suppose the question around those high tackles is, yes, a penalty accruing, but will there be a card that goes with it? Seems to vary at times in terms of the call that's made in that respect by the officials. So Stefan de Toy says we're going to award the penalty. It doesn't look like he's going to put his hand in his pocket.
Damian Willems just coming in slightly high. He can count himself lucky. He didn't go through with a tackle because he could easily have found himself spending 10 minutes on the side. Swinging arm, pretty dangerous.
Well
dealt with by the referee.
Absolutely, absolutely. In an encounter like this, you don't want to be faced with 14 players. There's certainly no malice in that. And it's an opportunity for another 3 points. This is a long kick on a heavy field for Jean-Luc Cilliers. I think both teams realised, Gareth, as well, that this could be a really close encounter. Take the points on offer, even at 43.6 metres.
You just see Jean-Luc Cilliers battling the ground around. The penalty has been awarded. Very heavy underfoot there. And you'll need to have a solid strike to give him the best possible chance to put Paarl Boys back in the lead.
Gum guard lying just to the right of the ball. Wonderful modern day rugby. Gum guards, kicking teams. Balls that travel quite differently, not leather. Giving away my age. Jean-Luc Cilliers. Straight away. That's a beautiful kick. And that's 150 points for the Paarl Boys High fullback this season.
What a super strike by the fullback. And of course these modern day balls fly a lot further than the Super Springbok of your era, Gav.
Especially when they're dry. So the home team then in the lead. That's another great kick that from Damian Willems. So put all sorts of pressure on the defence, and it's gone into touch. Paarl Boys High will have the throw in, I think. I don't think anybody touched that ball.
That's a second super effort from the restart from Willems. The chase was good from Marburg as well. He got height, he got distance. He's put the pressure back on Paarl Boys.
So De Jong with the throw in. Safe catch up front.
No, before his legs were on the ground. Before his legs were on the ground.
There's two very big boys at lock, but have a look here again. Paarl Boys High winning the penalty. Paul was coming in from the side of that maul. Again, we see just what a good job this pack of forwards has done this season.
Well, it's a blue and white juggernaut that provides a platform for this Paarl Boys side to feed off. That's a good kick by Lombard.
It's an outstanding kick.
Ruben de Villiers, the banker ball up front, and then his legs being taken out from under him by Robert Mattia. Has crossed his side 40 metres.
Well, that's literally it, Gareth. Yeah, it has cost the side those 40 metres. Lombard. Back in field, I guess, from both the captain, carrying it up with the number 6 jersey. Same one that was worn by Corne Kricher. He played for Paarl Boys High, and he still is the only South African schools captain that went on to captain South Africa in the history of South African rugby. De Villiers. Might have been stolen. No, they've managed to hold on to it. Bradley Thane. Taken away. A chance here for Paul Roos. Williamson setting it up well. Now they've got an extra man here, but Vermeulen decides to kick downfield. And which way does this bounce? Well, the touchline is going to be the victor. Maybe if Joshua Vermeulen has a look at that, he might ask. He could maybe have kept the ball in hand.
I think he's made the wrong decision there. Turnover coming from Simon Murat. His hands letting him down just what broke away. The tap tackle came in, and then it was numbers to burn on the outside. Unfortunately, it was ball to boot instead of putting it through the hands.
Well, this ball going into touch, and you're seeing a lot of throw-ins from MC de Jong for Paarl Boys High. Puts pressure on Paul Roos. Back and forwards. Hold up things if they can. Again, you can see it's that maul that they're looking to utilise. So they've done pretty effectively this in the course of this first half.
Use it once, please.
Just, around 10 minutes left of this first half, bearing in mind it's school level. They played 35 minutes each way, not 40. So another chance here for Paul Roos. And they find a way through this solid defence as we've seen. Well, it could be a big man, it could be a swift man. It's going to be Joshua Vermeulen. Lovely play that from Paul Roos. Opened up space. Just a little skip pass as the fullback ran into space.
And Joshua Vermeulen has broken the shackles down here in Paul. They thwarted the drive to the men in maroon. The pass was a flat, hard pass to Vermeulen, who hit the line at pace, and he's canted over for the first try in this encounter. But hats off to the Paul Roos pack. They managed to stem the drive. They stripped the ball out of Paarl Boys' hands. And it's Joshua Vermeulen who's come up with the goods, and his try is converted by the inside centre, Christoph Bart. Look at the pass coming in from Willemse. He takes it to the line. Good work by Sali initially. And then he throws a wonderful flat ball to a flying Joshua Vermeulen. Very reminiscent in build and play of our fellow commentator Bradton Porser.
Like him, I love to see a player running into space, not always space. Found the space there. They did well to get into it. Tariq February was caught in possession there for Paarl Boys High, but he's made sure that that ball was set up. Lombard with the pass downfield. Franchi carrying it up from the inside centre position, but they've lost possession, have Paarl Boys High. We haven't seen this often in this match. When they've been in possession, they've held on to the ball. And even under a bit of pressure.
Advantage over.
Trusty left boot of Joshua Vermeulen. Again, Gareth, you know, I think we criticised him maybe just now for not moving the ball around. However, dominating territory like this is putting pressure on Paarl Boys High. And maybe the reason for that difference in points right now.
And that was absolutely the right decision. They've just scored points. They want to get back into the opposition's half. Good tactical mouse coming in from the fullback.
Strong catch there from Simon Murat.
Release. Release now.
Bradley Thane. Back to Lombard. That's a pretty good kick from Lombard. Fielded by Jason Maybach. Now Vermeulen. This time decides that he's going to run. Back foot was to provide support as Norman Sali. Seems to be a pretty good rhythm at the moment that this Paul Roos team has.
Blue.
Christoph Ball trying to find initially a little bit of space through there. You mentioned it right up front, Gareth, that perhaps one of the the key things for Paul Roos is to move the Paarl Boys High bigger pack of forwards around the field, and that does look like they're certainly trying to do.
They're catching and passing.
Play in, stay in, come in, come in, come.
Average standard. The pass is behind the man. That's not allowing the attacking player to run onto it. And they're dangerous and potent right winger. Nico Leonard has seen precious little of the ball.
Well, most of the lineouts are going to Paarl Boys High at the moment, and love to use the opportunity to carry it up within the pack of forwards. Ginormous pack, in fact, to carry it up. Here comes another one this time, Ruben de Villiers. Also a Craven Week player, played Craven Week last year too. Big Vickers Groenewald, South African hammer and shot putter champion. A multi-skilled player. Thane waiting for it. A little bit slow was the delivery on that occasion, so not a lot of yardage for Ruben de Villiers to be able to work with. And now Cilliers with the pass. And Cusano, who's got a little bit quiet in the last few minutes. Can they find a way through? Yeah. The counter to get back into the lead. Lovely little offload. Another good one. Oh. Well, there's a knock on there, I think, judging on the referee's arm signals.
And again, it's brilliant defensive work by Paul Roos, but the offload coming from Lombard. Strong carry by the Paul Roos forwards. Unfortunately, the ball going begging close to the line, but hasn't Dean van Tonder been a standout in defence for Paul Roos? He's tackled anything in his channel, and he's been resolute in his defensive effort this afternoon.
What about this scrum? How vital is this? On their goal line with a power pack against them. Can
Not happy with the interlocking.
This is their
There's the
litmus
mark.
test
Please come on
from
the
their
mark.
pack's perspective.
Red,
Can they
you must shift over for me,
withhold the
please.
shove coming from
Ja, stable.
attack that contains no less
Ja, dan kom
than
ik aan toe, dankie.
5
Okay,
Western
yes,
Province
yes,
Craven Week players.
Yep.
Crouch.
Talk about those 5 players, and of course, the 3
Fine.
players from Paul Roos are all in the back line.
Sit.
Well, there are 2 players that are already playing for the Western Province Academy team.
Stay flank. Flank blue.
That's a pretty solid
Flank
scrum for Van Heerden. And enough time for Willemse to get a big boot downfield. That's a great kick. Not quite out. Now Cilliers. He's going to move that straight into touch. So the net result is a very positive one for Paul Roos.
And Gavin, your kick is only as good as your chase. Nico Leonard was up there in a flash, put the pressure on Cilliers. He didn't have numbers back to counter-attack. And Paul Roos have averted certain danger. You see the kicks from hand.
Open.
13
Open.
by the men in blue and white, and 11 to Paul Roos.
Good to see the Craig Pilot's. He's back on his feet for Paul Roos. He was down with an injury. That's an awful line out there. So we'll have a throw in this time to Paarl Boys High. Their lineouts have been very secure. Good clean ball this time. It's to the back line. Daniel Russ going back in field for Paarl Boys High. Oh, Bradley Thane. Again, the big boys come into play. Thane. Thane looking to just maybe provide the variety there. And good to see. He's not a big fella, but with excellent ball skills. Andreas van Wyk, the captain, setting that up. 2 lock forwards, trying to look like
Seven, red. Back, step.
Kick over the top from Thane. The chase coming from Tariq February. We spoke about the importance of a kick chase. February right up onto his man. As a result, they won the ball back. Here's Andreas van Wyk. Onto Vickers Groenewald. Now the drop attempt. Well, it's not a good one. It's Lombard, but perhaps he knew that there was a penalty advantage
Number 2,
and an opportunity
offside, number 2.
once again for Jean-Luc Cilliers to kick some points. The penalty against Robert Mathieu of Paul Roos.
Just seeing Robert Mathieu getting out of line too quickly. Spot tackle came in, and hence the penalty right in front for Jean-Luc Cilliers to make this a 1-point encounter.
Let's go, guys, let's go.
Couldn't have asked for more, could you? Just maybe 1 point after this kick, who knows, but a game that could go anyway.
Hanswart will have one or two things on his mind come half-time. He needs to sort out the lineouts. That's been an Achilles heel for the men in maroon. They need to have shorter lineouts to try get around the big boys in Murat and De Villiers, quicken them up. And I think if Paul Roos can get their lineouts sorted out, well, you never know in this game of rugby.
Ryan Crick, of course, being the coach of the Paul Roos team. Two penalties in this game to date. Solitary points for Paarl Boys High. Can he edge up to 9? Yes! Again, it's a solid kick from Cilliers on the stroke of half-time. Very opportune. In fact, there is the referee's half-time whistle. Could we have asked for a tighter tussle here at Brug Street in Paarl? It certainly has been. Just one try then from Joshua Vermeulen for Paul Roos. A fantastic try. There's the half-time score here in Paarl. Paarl Boys High 9, Paul Roos Gimnasium 10.